Hello! Today I'm trying something a little bit different. This is my graphic novel collection, so I'll just get right into it. Just to specify, this is only graphic novels, it's not art books. And it's not, like, comic books. Well, like, a couple of them I think could be considered comic books. But anyway, so I have the Vox Machina Origins, which, ooh, look at that. Ooh, it's very lovely. I got it for Christmas. It's a big boy, so that's a very fun one. And then let's start it off with these that I got recently and just a few days ago. A Long Exposure by Mars. I love Mars' style. I love the art. In Long Exposure specifically, I love the use of color or lack of color, and then having color in specific moments where it just sort of makes it even more meaningful. It's a very lovely comic. And then going into their newest one, Ride or Die, which is all in color, which is wonderful to see. I just love the stylistic choices that they make. I love the texture, the lighting, the sort of chromatic aberration, I believe it's called, the sort of like way that they blur it with like the blue and yellow, or the blue and red. It's very, very good. And then we have the Long Exposure art zine, which is all of the art. Well, not all of the art, but a lot of the art of Long Exposure. I love them. I just love them. It's wonderful. If you haven't seen any of Mars' stuff, why are you watching this video? You should just go read that comic. Zoe Thorogood. I have both of I have this one tabbed. I have both of her graphic novels. I believe The Impending Blindness of Billy Scott was like her debut. You can definitely stylistically see the difference between this one and this one. But they do, and they're both very good. I love this one and the story it tells. I love the use of color. It's just a wonderful book, and you should read it. The same with It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth. It's a very, very, like, it's surreal and dreamlike. And all of the different sort of like forms that she takes. You can see I have a lot of it tabbed, but there's sort of like these different personas, this use of color. The way that this comic is about writing this comic is so fun. The comic itself carries, it talks about some heavy stuff, but in a very comical way. Zoe was just a very funny person and a very good writer and a very good artist. And I would recommend it. And then we have this one, which is actually a local comic book artist. I believe I got it at a sort of local mom and pop bookstore. I love the inking in this one. It's basically a Dante's Inferno retelling. It's a very good comic. Like I said, I love the loose brush strokes. I just think it's very good. And that's pretty much all for this one. This one's just a good comic, very classic. It's called Elevator. Volume 1. It's by Dwight L. McPherson from Hocus Pocus Comics. Very good. Okay, we have How to Webcomic by Star. And then this one is basically, I know I said I wouldn't do any like how-to art books, but I feel like I couldn't not show this one. It's very good, very educational, and yeah, I have a lot of books to get through, so I'm trying to do it as fast as possible. We have Beast Boy, and hold on, where is it? I know it's somewhere. Haha, and it's signed. Beast Boy, and it's signed. I got it. I bought it at their table at MegaCon, and they signed it, and it's very wonderful. And once again, it's just a good comic. It's sort of just a Beast Boy origin story. There's this Beast Boy one, and then there's the Raven one, and then those sort of can be read separately from one another, and then there is the Beast Boy Loves Raven book, where they meet sort of after those two origin story books. And then we of course have a titular graphic novel, Nimona. If you've watched the Netflix movie, the Netflix movie is very good. It is pretty different from the graphic novel, but I love them both all the same, because while they changed a lot of things from the movie adaptation, it still carries sort of like the heart and the message of the story. It's so good. It's just sort of about like, you know, what makes it has this sort of like morality, like the people who make the rules are the moral ones, even though they're not doing the most moral things. It has, you know, Nimona is obviously sort of this like allegorical transness and queerness as well, and it just has a lot of heart, and it's a very, very lovely story. It's very well written. Yeah, I do need to change the name on here because this is the old name, which I haven't done yet. I should do that like right now. And then we have Raiders, which was illustrated by Crom, who is just a wonderful artist. I love the fantasy stuff that they've done. This one is very, the art is very lovely, but it is very violent, I suppose. So if you're not super into anything that's like very like visceral or gore heavy, I wouldn't recommend it. But other than that, the art is great. Yeah, and I just really wanted one of the books that he did. And then I suppose that these all go together, but they are the ones that I suppose would be considered more of a comic book. But I have Good Boy, which is something that I also got at MegaCon. Good Boy, I have the full volume 2, and then these are all the like 1, 2, 3 volume 1 technically. And then I have the side story Bad Girl. And so if you don't know what Good Boy is about, it's basically you can tell that they had such a fun time making it. The sort of concept is, what if instead of, it's like John Wick, so John Wick, his dog dies, he goes on a rampage. Instead of that, what if John Wick dies and then his dog then goes on a rampage, and does all the John Wick stuff, and it's very fun. Obviously a bit violent, and once again going into violent stuff, we have the Prom of the Dead, the Spores trilogy. I have the first two. I got them once again at MegaCon this year. It's a zombie apocalypse story, It's, you know, classic zombie apocalypse story. It's very good, very fun. Well, not exactly zombies. They're like, I don't want to spoil it too much if you haven't read it, but I would recommend it. They're very good, very fun. Yeah, and then this one I got at MegaCon. I get a lot of the stuff that I get at MegaCon isn't like any classic or old comic books. I don't really that isn't the stuff that I seek out. I seek out the like smaller indie comics or graphic novels that are setting up shop there. I like talking to them a lot, going through their work. I like going through the you know, professional Marvel DC comic book peoples as well, but I just love finding, you know, hidden gems like this that I wouldn't have picked up really anywhere else, and I wouldn't have really known about if I didn't stumble across their booth at MegaCon. And so this is a like witchy fae sort of retelling. It's very good. It's weird and surreal, and yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. The art is wonderful. It's a very good book. I feel like that's a lot of what I'm going to say. The art is good. It's a very good book. This is also another one that I got at MegaCon a few years ago. This one is sort of a sci-fi horror story. Think Alien. They're all trapped on a space station and they're dying. And yeah, once again, it's very good. I really like the sort of world building that takes place here. I want to know more about this because they're all kids, right? That for one reason or another are on this space expedition together. And I really want to know more about that world, if that makes sense. But yeah, and then Paper Girls. This is more of a classic comic book. I actually got this after I watched the first season of Paper Girls, and then of course they canceled it, which, why the hell would you do that? It's very good. So then I got the first volume of it, and just like the show that it was adapted to, the comic, the graphic novel, is very, very good. The art is wonderful, the story and the kids are wonderful. I love the, you know, 80s kids on bikes type of beat. And then the big boy, I have the one, this was actually an impulse purchase at Barnes & Noble, the Compendium 1 of Saga. It took me a while to get through, but boy, it was worth it. I don't exactly want to just flip through it because there is a lot of like violence and nudity and stuff in it. But if you guys know graphic novels, you know Saga. And if you don't know Saga, I would highly recommend it. It's Saga. It is a space opera almost. It is very, very good. Let me see if I can find, you know, just some pages for you to go through. It's basically, you know, it's a giant cosmic war, like a galactic war between kind of these two races, but then there's like also a lot of other peoples that sort of pick sides in this war, and it gets more and more complex, but it boils down to these two people from these different sides falling in love and having a kid. So the kid is a culmination, right? One side has horns, one side has wings, is kind of a physical marker of the two, and she has both. And basically the whole galaxy is hunting them. So what do you do when, you know, you love someone and the whole galaxy is hunting you and your child? Is sort of what it boils down to, but it's a very wonderful story. If you're not a huge fan of nudity or violence, once again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it's a great story. I have a few different books from Tillie Walden that I'll go into, but On a Sunbeam was the first one that I got. And once again, sci-fi. I think this one really heavily influenced Eternus, the comic book that I'm currently working on right now, with the sort of surrealist way that the sci-fi is. I don't know how to the surrealist way that it's not like a super highly technical, right? Like, it's not The Martian, right? They don't go into the science of it. They don't go into they don't go into sort of how the world works. Like, how is this castle in the middle of space, right? It's very, very, she's so good at making a very specific atmosphere that just completely ties you in and immerses you. It feels very dreamlike, which I love Tillie Walden's work. And then going into, here's the second one. This one also has the, this one, Are You Listening, is about two people who sort of go on a road trip together and find this cat. And I don't really want to go into, it's basically just them being on a road trip, but once again, it has this very specific atmosphere and surreal quality to it, very dreamlike, very beautiful. The story is beautiful. She had a message that she wanted to get across, and she got it across beautifully. Tillie Walden, I love you. You're great. I love your books. Spinning by Tillie Walden. This one is more, it's sort of autobiographical. It's, once again, a beautiful story. She creates a very specific atmosphere about her and her childhood. I believe most of it takes place during like middle school and high school, sort of the struggles that she goes through. And it's a very, very beautiful book, very, emotional, even if you don't, I was never a figure skater, but this book is highly relatable in a lot of different ways. So once again, I would recommend it. Okay, we've got to keep this thing going. Check, please. It's about hockey. It's about these two boys who fall in love, and they're both on the hockey team, and one of them bakes pies and is lovely, and one of them is like very perfectionist. He is like the best. It's Check Please. If you don't know Check Please, it's I would recommend following the artist, and she's currently, Check Please is 10 years old, but she's currently posting updates on Webtoons. But you could read the whole thing on our website for free, or you can get the volumes at any major bookstore. I got the first volume because I binged it on her website and I love it so much. The Girl from the Sea. Once again, it's just a cute love story about a girl who sort of falls in love with this mermaid. It's the sort of struggle about her sexuality, her liking this girl and her having to sort of combine these two worlds of her friends in her life versus this girl that she likes. Is a very relatable story, even if her being a mermaid or a selkie isn't necessarily, it's mythical. But yes, I love the sort of mythical allegory for just sort of being queer in general, as you could see with Nimona and also Girl from the Sea. They're both very good. Zatanna, made by Jacqueline de Leon. I mean, if you're, on YouTube for art stuff, I'm sure that you've watched her videos before. If you're watching my videos and not hers, I don't know why, but yes, I've loved her and followed her as an artist for a really long time, so when I heard that she was doing a comic for DC, I jumped on it immediately. Squire. This book is so good. It's just sort of, it's about this sort of war that's taking place and the sort of complications that come, obviously, with war. I haven't read it in a while. I'm not particularly sure how to describe it, right? Like, it has this like war propaganda that's sort of fed to these young people, and then they, you know, dream of becoming knights, and then, you know, it talks about, you know, colonization. It talks about, you know, tension and war and all of the sort of complications of that, right? Like how, this person, you know, she has to then, like, join the military that, you know, crippled her people, basically. I'm not sort of, articulating it correctly, but it's incredibly nuanced, and it's incredibly good. Yeah, and just sort of going through that, how, you know, she wants to be a knight so badly, but then just sort of going through and realizing that that sort of glorification isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It's a very, once again, and the art, of course, is beautiful. It's a very good book. These all go through pretty quickly. I have 3 novels of One Piece. I have number 1, number 88, and 100. It's One Piece. What more can I say about it? I am currently in the anime. I'm currently in Wano. I have fallen off of watching it a little bit because I did watch the English dub. I apologize, sub people, because I can draw while I listen to the English dub. But yes, I'm currently in Wano, and I am waiting for more of the English dub to come out, and then I'll binge those episodes, and then I'll wait a bit more, and so then that's sort of what I'm gonna do there. But anyway, I love One Piece. And then these are the Adventure Zone. Look, obviously I have all of the Adventure Zone graphic novels. I have several of the holographic stickers and the poster from, like, the pre-order special, like, gifts that you get. I just pre-ordered the Suffering game and sent in my receipt for the keychain, and then I did have a spending spree on Carrie Peach's website in celebration of the next graphic novel coming out. Hi, so this is just a little bit later. I got the stuff from Carrie Peach's shop, so I just wanted to go through it really quick. I got this little 1 page. You can tell that, like, they literally, like, just, you know, printed it on the paper, folded it, cut it. I love it. About bird watching. It's delightful. This one, I got Lost Haven. It's about basically this witch who sort of loses her talent and then just sort of has to find out how to keep going. And it's a wonderful book. We've got some Zelda fan art, which I'll always buy. I have some in my imprint shop, some Zelda fan art. I love this sort of daily journal, just idea in general. I love these. They're so fun and cute and relatable, and I want to start my own, because I've tried to do, like, a diary. I've tried to do, like, the Artist Way morning pages, but they never really quite stick. They feel kind of monotonous at some point, that, like, I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. But having little comic journals that maybe even if I just do, like, 1 a week, right, that I really want to try something like this. And it would also just be an excuse to buy another sketchbook. And then I also got the sticker sheet, which I think sort of speaks for itself, right? And my only regret at spending all of this money and buying all of these things that I didn't buy more. I also got a print. Hold on. I got this Petals to the Metal print. I don't want to take it off of my wall because I'm down here. I'm very short. It's very high up there. I had to use a stool. But it's on this lovely sort of vinyl. It's a beautiful print. And there was a bunch of them that I could have gotten, but I decided to do the classic. Petals to the Metal. Yeah. So yeah, there isn't really much more to say. I love the Adventure Zone balance. It, was a foundation for me during college. One of the things that really got me through finals. I love Carrie Peach. I love her art style. I love the colors. And I love the McElroy family. I keep up with my brother and me. I am falling a bit behind. I'm still on the Blades in the Dark that Justin is doing, where the Adventure Zone is concerned. But the graphic novels are incredible. And you should listen to all of Adventure Zone Balance and get all of the graphic novels. They're wonderful. Prince and the Dressmaker. Classic graphic novel. It's wonderful. It is about, speaking of Prince and the Dressmaker, one thing that I really need to get is the novels of Princess Jellyfish. Princess Jellyfish, I think, completely altered my brain chemistry in high school. But this isn't Princess Jellyfish, this is the Prince and the Dressmaker. It's, this prince, this boy who then meets this young dressmaker who he then cross-dresses. He has this alternative persona, almost like a drag queen, and it's just them becoming friends, bonding, them sort of both coming to terms with who they are and their identity, and it's a lovely story. Laura Dean keeps breaking up with me. It's incredibly well drawn. I love the art style of this book. I love the message of this book. The story. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous book, an absolutely gorgeous story, of growing up, of, sort of liking someone, it's got a lot of good stuff in here. Once again, I can't articulate and do it really justice. And then we're ending with a banger. This is sort of the last in my graphic novel collection. I still do have a bunch of comics, a bunch of RPG books, a bunch of art books that I can also make videos on as well. But where sort of thicker boys and graphic novel comic books are concerned, Heartstopper, a classic. I only have the first volume. I know, it's such a tragedy. I need to get more. I have a lot of books on my list, and the other one of these are one of them, as well as, Check Please, as well as Princess Jellyfish, as well as a bunch of others. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will say that this is years of slow cultivation. Don't feel bad, or don't be super sad that you don't have a collection that's sort of as large as mine. There are so many people that have much larger collections than mine, and once again, they're older than me. They have, more financial spending money. They have been, collecting longer than I have. I might have been collecting longer than you have. I've been collecting these for 5 years now, and this is sort of what I have so far. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and have a lovely day. Bye bye.